Okay, so we did a meetup last night in Coquitlam. Had fun. We're doing another one on the 30th, which is a Saturday. We're doing it in the evening because it tends to get kind of hot at the end of June. Sometimes, as much as, say, 102 or 103 Fahrenheit, 37, 38 degrees, that kind of thing. It's kind of...
That's stupid hot.
So, the suggestion has been made throughout that we should do meetups elsewhere, and we agree. Now, the most obvious place for us to go if we're looking at monies and we're looking at the States and requiring passports. So, we both have Nexus cards. Nexus cards get you across the border in a car, and you're allowed to drive across the border. If you have a passport, you can fly, and if you have a passport, you can get your Nexus card updated, and you can use the Nexus line to get in and fly across the border, which is nice. Now, depending on timelines and when we're able to get our passports done, and we're looking at getting them done as soon as possible, if we do a meetup in Vegas, there's a few logistical things that I'm wondering about with this. So, for those who are fans that are in Vegas, this is for you guys, or in the Vegas area. If we do some kind of a meetup, it would probably be best to do it indoors or a shaded area somewhere. I don't want people to just have heat exhaustion and drop. Last night, for instance, we played in that lacrosse box for a little over 2 hours, and it was fine. But if it had been 38 degrees, that wouldn't have worked.
We wouldn't be acclimatized to their super hot either.
No, not really. So we're looking at this and saying, okay, so indoors and access to hockey equipment stuff for you guys that would be coming out to play, kind of thing. Sticks and stuff like that, and stuff like, it might seem really simplistic on the Canadian side of the border, like, well, there's hockey sticks everywhere. But we know from being down in Bellingham and in certain parts of the U.S., they may not be as easy to come by. So, we're just trying to figure out the logistics of how this would work. Is it necessarily a street hockey meetup, or do we just have like a meetup of channel viewers and do something? So, let me know your suggestions in the comment section below. And if the passport thing doesn't turn out to work in time,
we shouldn't have any problem.
I'm just saying, if it doesn't, then we may do the road trip, and we may end up heading down to California, potentially.
It'd be a really long drive in July.
It is a long drive in July.
I don't think we'll have trouble with passport.
But either way, so just let me know any suggestions you guys have. Budgets are as budgets are, so we're not in tremendous shape financially to make this really exorbitant trip where we can get into the big casinos and get the huge palatial rooms.
Not even close. No.
So, yeah. Let me know your suggestions in the comment section below. Again, if you're in that area, and I understand there are people across Canada, across the U.S. that are talking about meetups, and you guys should come here and you guys should come there. When we get more ahead financially, sure. At this point, it has to be just small jumps. So basically, California, Vegas, maybe in certain instances, Alberta, if I can talk Yvonne into it.
Why would you say that?
Well, because if I mentioned Edmonton,
right,
your reaction would be...
I know. Yeah, I've been to Alberta twice, and it's not lovely.
See, I like Alberta. I do. For short visits, I don't mind Alberta.
Sections of it, but that would be a really boring.
And I think if we went to Calgary and then headed out towards Banff, I think it would be a lot of fun.
That would be amazing. See? I would like that.
And that's the kind of thing.
But once you get over the mountains, you're driving in fields and fields and fields. And
see, I love the prairie, though. I think the prairie's beautiful.
But driving in it,
it's just beautiful.
It's like mind-numbing.
It's beautiful. I loved it. I loved being able to look out when I was coming back with my kid from Edmonton, and we were driving from Edmonton down to Calgary, and as far as you can see, it's prairie. I just thought it was gorgeous.
It is.
I thought it was amazing.
Absolutely. But driving, yes, mind-numbing, I think is the best adjective to describe that.
Okay.
Just saying.
So again, on a budget, we're trying to figure out the best way to do this.
Flying there. It's really cool to fly there. Flying over the mountains. Really neat.
So we're trying to figure out the best way to do this, and again, it would be in early July, and then in the fall we'll be looking at perhaps other kinds of things like this. Once we're more in the hang of it, and maybe with some further channel growth and some. The other thing is, I want to make sure if I'm going to have something like this, whether it was in California, whether it was in Vegas, that it's going to be attended by enough people that it doesn't feel like there's a lot of expense and not a lot of return on it. And I want to make sure that the maximum number of people who watch these videos and want to come and hang out can do so. So I want to make sure that I'm going to a spot where people say, oh, that would be great, rather than, oh, I can't go there. And there is a lot of that with where we are. Obviously, people on the East Coast, and for people further south, it's a little bit further and trickier and hard to get there. So, again, on the 30th, we're having one. We haven't decided on the exact spot yet. We could have it in the same spot we had it in last night, but odds are we'll move it a little bit so that, and we do that so that other people can come. That's why it's on a Saturday next time rather than a Friday. So there you go. Any thoughts, any suggestions are welcome in the comment section below. I'll talk to you again soon.